Okay, people. So I am joined today by writer director Christopher Beatty and leading star of the film Elizabeth Page. Guys, thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate it.
We are so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
No problem. So your film Bibi is having its world premiere at Dances with Films.
Correct.
Yo, I have to say, I watched the film and it's tremendous. It's such a good friggin' film.
Thank you.
Like, how the hell did this come about? Because I think we've dealt with people with films about loss and everything like that. But I think the way you've approached this is really interesting and different.
Yeah, I mean, Vivian Ashwood's such a complex character. I started this film a while ago. I wrote the script maybe 10 years ago with an idea, and I just kept transforming it into this. Just about a woman who loses her mind, a woman, and you feel suffocated watching it. And that was my goal. I mean, her and her daughter are in this giant estate and trapped. They don't face reality. They don't interact with the outside world, and it's a sad story, and about loss, about addiction, things like that. And I thought Elizabeth did a wonderful job, capturing that character. I thought she was amazing.
Oh man, she definitely did. It's such an interesting role. And I think with the film, the great thing about it is you you believe it's something, and as it goes on, more and more is revealed, and the story's just unraveling, and it becomes this whole different thing. So Elizabeth has to play this character that is giving you so many things, but not giving anything away. Like, Elizabeth, how easy was that? Like, what did you have to go through to be able to give that sort of performance? And how fucked up do you feel right now? Because god
Oh my
damn it,
God.
I think that must scar you.
I'm not gonna lie, I had nightmares every single night of the shoot. And even after the scene was done, I'm someone that completely shakes it off. I'm not method in any sense of the word. But your body remembers that you just put it through something and that you had to get yourself to an emotional place. And yeah, so it took a little bit of time to shake it off completely. But one of the best things that Chris let me do was, because obviously on a film set, you're sitting and you're waiting in between setups, and then you at the drop of a hat, you have to get your adrenaline up really, really high. So
Mm.
Chris would just roll the camera and then let me run around the house and get my heart rate up, and then I would just enter the scene. And it was freeing, because half the battle was, making sure that my body was as anxious as my mind was.
Mm. Yeah, what is the research that goes in to being able to perform that kind of character, and Chris to be able to write that kind of character?
Chris, do you want to go right first and then I'll go into acting it?
Sure. Coming up with her, she was such a complex character. I mean, she literally has to hold the audience for 95 minutes, because there's very little interaction with other actors. So I just wanted somebody who could hold the audience, who could lose their mind. I wrote it where she's a very sick woman, um, a little detached from reality, and things escalate as the film progresses. It's a slow burn. Um, it's an atmospheric thriller, but like you said, it takes time to get there. But once things get rolling, you think one thing, and then something hits you, and then something else hits you, and then something else, and it's just a sad story. And I feel for Vivian Ashwood, and what she had to endure, throughout her life, but I find the film beautiful because of it, in some sick way.
No, it is. Yeah, it is sick, but that's okay. In prepping for it, we've said this before, but I didn't have a ton of prep time because there was a lead actress attached, and she was attached for a while, like 3 or 4 months, right, Chris?
Yeah, about 3.5, 4 months. Yep.
Yep. And then when she dropped 2 weeks before filming, and so
Yo.
then Chris had to. You can actually say this part, Chris, and then I can say it from my perspective.
Yeah. I casted, a leading lady for the role. It was a big hire for us, and we were literally collaborating for a solid 3.5 months. Very intense, lots of notes, lots of feedback back and forth, and then I get a call about 2 weeks before shooting that she dropped out for, I believe, something with a studio film. Never heard from her. I got the message from her agent, and it killed me. I mean, all that work, all that prep, killed me because I didn't think we were going to make the movie. Honestly, I called our amazing casting director Stephanie Holbrook and our head producer Glenn Trotner, and they were pretty calm. I said, give me the best New York locals you have. And we actually had another actress from LA that was really interested in doing the film as well. And I went with Elizabeth because when I saw her audition, I didn't care who it was. That was Vivian Ashwood. I knew right away. I got on the phone with her. I said, the part's yours. She was in Minnesota at the time. I said, can you get on a plane tomorrow? We got to move. And she was here. I picked her up, and we were. I mean, I don't know how she pulled it off with literally 8 days of prep, but she did, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. It was amazing, and it was the best thing that happened for this film, because although the other actor had a big name, I would 1,000 out of 1,000 times I would go with Elizabeth for this because she was so hungry. She wanted it. She gave me everything. And I don't think anyone on this planet could have done what she did under the circumstances we were under. And we were both in it. I mean, we had no choice. There was no going back. It was me and her. We were both as hungry as the other. And she wanted it. And she gave me every single ounce of her soul for this shoot. And I wouldn't change this for the world. It was the best thing that ever happened. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think that so I found out that I got cast on Monday. I flew to New York on Tuesday, and then our first table read was on Friday. And Chris picked me up for the table read, and he was like, I trust you. You don't have to be nervous. I completely trust you. I know you can do this. And him instilling that in me, I was like, yeah, I can do this. And so on top of the fact that I didn't really have a ton of time to be nervous, he didn't make me feel nervous at all, as well as the entire crew. I mean, everyone was so good at what they did and trusted me, even not having a name, that it helped everything, go smoothly. But in terms of prep, I just, because I knew I had such an expedited time period, I read the script as much as I possibly could. I think in 4 days, I read it like 15 or 20 times. And then I worked on all the relationships that, because she only really interacts with 3 main people in the script. And so, I worked on those. I did a touch of backstory and made sure I was memorized. Other than that, I showed up on the day, knew what I was filming, I was memorized, and just tried to be as present as I possibly could be. And then whatever, decided to come out in that moment came out, and Chris liked it, so we just went with it.
I didn't like it. I fucking loved it. It was wonderful.
Oh man, there's so many questions here, right? Elizabeth, right? When you get sent this role, right,
Yeah.
and you look at it and you understand the time frames and all of that,
Yeah.
what was it that made you think I can do this? And not only I can do this, like I can kill this thing.
Yeah. I think I'm so fascinated by the juxtaposition of fragility and strength and resilience, and how no matter your circumstance, you push through it and you fight for it. And because I'm so fascinated by it, I think I'm drawn to playing those characters. And so I get good at them because my agents know that's what I love and that's what they send me. That's what I practice and that's what I get good at. And specifically with Vivian, throughout the whole film, she gets scared of not only the circumstance with, that she's put in, but also of herself. And to play being scared of yourself and the reality that you think that you've created because you don't know if it's real anymore is something that I think, especially today, like with, the talk of the simulation and all of that stuff, it's just, I knew that I wanted to delve into it. And because I was so excited about the story, that's kind of one of the reasons why I thought I could do it.
Do you look internally for some trauma you can utilize to really bring that to the surface?
I don't know of any other way. Like I first and foremost tried to get my heart rate up. So I was listening to this interview actually with Jake Gyllenhaal, and he was talking about how Dustin Hoffman on the last day of one of their film sets gave him a walker to do dips on to get his heart rate up. And that's what I do always. So if my adrenaline's up, I have to get my body there first. But then in order to make the emotional side of the story believable, I draw from, imaginary circumstances to people that I am very much love. So it's tough. And those were what my nightmares were about.
Boy, I mean, it's very believable. There's not a point in the film that you go, I mean, that's over the top. That's it. Like you just buy into everything that she's going through.
Good.
And there's a moment near the end with Nancy in the house. When you fall back on those stairs and the camera gives us that open shot, it's just, oh shit.
Yeah.
Right? And you suddenly, these dominoes start falling and you're like, yo.
Yeah.
That was so good.
That was one of my favorite scenes to film. And I think because the set dressers did such an incredible job with the set that a lot of that was just experiencing what was around me and in juxtaposition with what we had been filming in for 3 weeks already. So it was fun to film. And I mean, what Chris wrote and created, it just made it that much easier to play.
And Chris, right, this is your third feature film or second feature film?
This is the first film I directed and written, but I produced other films in the past. But this is the first one I've actually, this is my directorial debut.
Right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, how the hell do you tell this story? Right? Like what, I asked Elizabeth, but what gave you the confidence that you could tell this story? Right? Because there's working on films, there's being around projects, but having the belief that you can put something so unique on the screen and just knock it out the park in the way that you have. Like,
Yeah.
what was the thing that told you, yo, I can do this shit, man?
I mean, I had a great head producer, Glenn Trotner. He passed away last year. He was the man. He was head of the DGA at a point in his life. He worked on the Marvel movies. He just everything he worked on, I was a big fan of, and we became close about 2010 we met. So when he came on board with me and he believed in what I wrote, I knew I was in good hands. He brought me to John Rutland, which is our director of photographer, and me and John literally dissected this script line by line. We knew where the camera was going to be. He knew I wanted, these wide shots. I always wanted the camera moving, very slow. Even if you don't see it, the camera in this film is moving at all times. He understood where I was coming from, and we had some pretty amazing conversations, and we were both on the same page. So when we got to the point of filming, it made it a lot easier than trying to figure things out. I mean, I've been on film sets where the director's looking for a location the same day, and I'm just like, what? How is that possible? I mean, John and I had a lot of walkthroughs, and we were pretty confident on what we wanted to achieve. And I think we did. I think we executed that really well. Me and him really got along well in regards to this script. And we agreed on a lot of things. We weren't really, what I said he was all for, and then if he had an idea, okay, that made sense, and that's I mean, we worked very well together, and I hope to one day work with him again because he was amazing.
Totally.
It definitely works. It's just the intro. Like the intro when we start off on the exterior and it's just moving forward to the house, and then we've got you in bed and it's cutting between you and the bathtub, and it just felt so ominous. Right? You didn't know what was going on, but there was just some foreboding in that sequence that was just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, what is about to happen?
Yeah, this is gonna get real. So, what I mean? I gotta get ready for this.
Yeah.
Like, how did you work out those kind of shots? Do you storyboard? Do you think about films that invoke certain emotions and we're like, oh yeah, they used this scene or they did this thing, I want to do my own kind of version of that? Like, how do you kind of work this stuff out?
We storyboarded, John and I, on several scenes. We did a lot of walkthrough, a lot of prep. I'm a big Stanley Kubrick fan. I love him. I love The Shining. I loved how he had those wide, beautiful push-ins, and with the dolly shots, and he was a big inspiration writing this film. I think he's the best in the business, and I took a lot of what he does. I tried to incorporate it with my style, and I think it works. I don't know if this film is for everybody. Like I said, it's a slow burn, and but I think if you sit through this, you're going to go for a ride, and that's that was my goal. I didn't want a horror movie. I didn't want things in your face. I want you to think about it. I want you to let things evolve and mature, and that's what I want. That's what I love. That's what I love watching. And I hope the audience will see it that way. I really do.
But I think that's so good when something's not for everyone. It just means that you have a specific voice.
Yeah. I mean, some people they need things to go, from the start. But I don't know. I think this is such a beautiful film. I have no regrets about anything. I mean, I wrote it on the paper. It came out exactly how I wanted, which is, I mean, that's all you can ask for. You can't ask for anything more. I mean, this is what I wrote. This is how and it came out beautiful. I mean, our actors are just amazing. We had such a great group of people from Tammy Blanchard, Rick Zahn, Elizabeth, Judith Ann. They were just dynamic. Each and every one of them gave their own, and I thought it all gelled together wonderfully. Even the two girls,
Oh my
the
God.
little girls
So
were
amazing.
were amazing. So it's just
They were
very
pros.
yeah.
I mean, how did the rest of the casting go? I mean, you know what I mean? Like Elizabeth role apart, how was the rest of the casting experience?
It was we got Tammy pretty early, which was good. That was comforting. I probably had her I'd say about a month and a half before shooting. I had Judith locked up. She's never done film before. She was never in a movie, but I was prepping with her for probably about 3 months, the same time we signed the other actor to the film. So I got to work with her quite a bit, but like I said before, you never know how a young actor, she was 15 at the time, is going to respond when 60, 70 people are walking around with bright lights and the pressure and things like that. And Judith handled it like a pro.
Completely.
And Elizabeth and Judith had a really great relationship on set, and they fed off each other. Casting Rick was another. I got him pretty much the same time I got Elizabeth for the doctor. So this was it was to the wire. I wish I could have had everybody 3 months prior and do some walkthroughs and things, but that wasn't the case. But as much as Elizabeth says, like, she wishes she has more time to prep, I thought this might have been a better way of going because everything was so organic, and
Totally.
we threw her right in the fire, and it's so believable. Her performance was so believable and so raw, and that's what's so beautiful about it. I don't know if she had it for 3-4 months, maybe it would have became stale for her. Maybe she would have over thought the whole role. Maybe she would have. I don't know. I don't have that answer.
Yeah.
But what I do know is the circumstances we had. I let her go. I rolled cameras early. I let her get all in that headset, and we just kept rolling. And if she had a note, I went with it, and she had a lot of freedom with this character, and I can't tell you enough how great she holds that film for 95 minutes. Amazing.
I agree with you though. Like I'm someone that generally I do a ton of homework and I love to create really elaborate backstories. And sometimes when it's the day and you're filming, there's part of you that wants to pay homage to what you've worked so hard at crafting. And so you'll do a take and you're like, oh shoot, like that actually wasn't that good because I wanted to loop that storyline into that line or whatever, where I didn't have any of that. So not having that just allowed me to be completely present and unstable at times, which she is. So it worked. Yeah.
It worked.
So how did you get Judith? Right? Because I'm watching this, I'm thinking, you know what I mean? She's seasoned.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like that performance was stellar. She kills it. And especially like Elizabeth with your role, with Vivian, they both kind of pendulum between these emotions. Right? So you're watching it and you have to believe that there's this thing between them. You know what I mean? You have to believe that the happy moments, the frustration, just all of this stuff. And it won't work without that. So how the hell do you get someone that's not acted before be able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, she's I saw her in a play. she was in a play, a high school play. She lives the town next to me. She goes to Paper Mill Playhouse, which is in Short Hills, New Jersey, which is where Anne Hathaway went as well. So she was on that trajectory of kind of how Anne, like similar classes, similar regimen. I saw her in a play, and I thought she blew me away. I was just blown away by her performance. We had a mutual, friend with the parents. I reached out to her mother, and yeah, we started. I didn't give her the role. I didn't give her the role. I looked at a lot of tape from girls, a lot of seasoned actors, girls who were in some pretty big films, and I just kept gravitating back to Judith because she was so raw, and because with her, we were really in it for months and months. I felt comfortable with her, and I felt like she understood the character, and I wasn't sure about another actor coming in at that age, 14, 15, where, hi, how are you? I meet you in person. We're shooting in 3 days. Now let's get into it. I mean, you can do so much over Zoom, but with Judith, I was one-on-one with her in person, working with her. I just felt really comfortable with her, and I thought she did such an amazing job. I knew right away after her first scene we were in good hands, and we were in good shape with her, and her and Paige really hit it off, which was great. I mean, they had really good chemistry, and that those two characters. I mean, when Bibi's at her highs, Vivian Ashwood's at her lows, and when Vivian's feeling good, Bibi's at her low. So they kind of fed off each other that way, and it worked out very well.
I also think getting to know Judy, like, she works her ass off at acting.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that there's such a big difference between theater and TV and film. And I don't agree. I started in theater. I was completely trained in theater. And the transition to film was easy. Like it's truth is truth, like acting like a real person on stage versus acting like a real person on camera. I don't know. I just didn't see that big of a difference. And it sounds like Judy didn't either.
Yeah, she was very well prepared. She's a nut. It's all about acting 24. It's 24/7 acting. I mean, she's in so many different programs. It's not a part-time thing. Got into an amazing university. I think it's a top 3 in the country for acting. And I expect really big things from her. She's definitely a pro, and she's amazing, and she's very well prepared. I'd have to work with her on certain things, before a take, and if I had an adjustment, she made that adjustment on the spot. There was, very little prep time with her, and
yeah,
what can you ask for? I think she just turned 15 at the time, which was
wild,
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this film is gonna be a tremendous showcase for everyone involved. I think everyone's gonna really come out of this and blossom, because the performances, the direction, cinematography, the lighting, the sound, everything came together to really tell a fantastic story. And Chris, right? You've said it a few times now, right? Yeah, it's a bit of a slow burn, but listen, right? Yes, there's not action and explosions from the giddy up, but straight away, it's compelling as hell, right? And there's slow films where nothing happens, and you're just like, okay. But then there's films like this where there's not crazy action or anything like that, but you are fixed. You want to see. Every scene is telling you something. There's so many breadcrumbs. I'm watching this and I'm like, is there something with the circles? right?
Yeah.
Because we saw a lot of circle kind of silhouettes, circle like stains, circle like imprints. That's the word I'm thinking of. Like imprints where something circular was there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yo, what's happening here? And so you're just like, you're watching and you're trying to figure out where is this taking us?
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing about this film which is like off-putting.
Yeah.
Right? It grips you from the beginning and it keeps you all the way through.
And it's a movie I think that you benefit from watching it twice. Like your experience watching it the first time is one thing, and then the second time is a completely different experience because you know what you know. And I think that it is just a testament to Chris and all of the Easter eggs that he planted throughout the film. It really pays off.
Even with like the Nancy scene at the end, that's a big Easter egg. But then you just get hit again when you know Bibi's in the barn, and then you get hit again when
that barn scene was
it's
fantastic.
It just keeps going. I mean, and that's I really wanted to just keep clobbering the audience at the end with a bunch of different things, and it kind of takes you along that carousel ride, and you just are like, wow, this is okay, we get it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was good. But I've got to ask you, what the hell is the chain thing? Right? It's the thing hanging from the ceiling, you know, and oftentimes Vivian gets up on the stool. Like, what is that chain thing? Because I'm just like, I've not seen a house that comes with its own noose. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
It's her closet. There's like a rafter, and we hung a. It's supposed to be, which I don't think anyone will ever understand. It's a horse collar, from Meadow, the horse, and yeah, she's just
She's twisted in her own way.
A real sick woman, you know. Not sure you want to bring her home to mom.
No. Oh my god.
But I don't know. I'm fucked up.
It's funny. Someone else asked. They asked me who I like related to, and I was like, I related least to Vivian. I really truly have so little in common with her. And Chris was like, I related most to Vivian.
Yeah. my brain went away a long time ago.
It's okay. From pain comes art.
Yeah, man.
mm-hmm.
Oh
man, what has this experience like given you both? Right? What's it told you about what you're able to do? Because Chris, you lost the main lead early, had to bring someone in, and Elizabeth, you get this on short notice and turn out this kind of performance. So like, what has this experience told you about your capabilities? What have you kind of taken from this experience?
I think for me, something that I said to Chris in the callback is I have gotten close to life-changing projects so many times, and I've been number 2. And one of the reasons why I don't get it is because I'm not a name and I'm not famous. I don't have any famous relatives. I know no one in this industry, and it's tough because I've worked so hard and I know I can do it. But I hadn't gotten that shot. And when I talked to Chris, he was like, that infuriates me. That's the only reason why you haven't, gotten one of these parts. And he was like, I trust you. I believe in you. I'm going to give it to you. And having him give me that opportunity and having him believe in me so wholeheartedly, it was a life-changing experience. I mean, I always believed I could do it, but I never got the shot. And so now getting the shot with a role that is so dynamic and difficult to play, and on such short notice, it was, I mean, it gave me confidence. It reinvigorated my, you know, like fervor to get this and make this happen for me. It really, it did more to me than I will ever be able to articulate. So I owe Chris so much.
You know, to chime in on that story, so like, you know, we lost the lead actor. Well, when I casted Elizabeth, I thought she was the perfect role. We got a call from our casting director that another big actor wants to do the role from LA. And I had a moment where I was like, I'm not going to be one of those fucking guys. I told Paige she's getting the lead, and you know, I had a choice to make, and I said, you know what, fuck it. If I'm going to go down, she's Paige. We're going down together.
With you.
That's it. And I said, you know what, I don't care. You know who, you know, really good actor that wanted to do this part, and I said, I told my casting director, and she goes, "Are you sure?" I go, "Yeah, I'm sure. Just we're going with Paige, and that's it." And you know,
People thought you were crazy. People,
yeah, no, they looked at me like, even our head producer was like, you know, you really need to think this out. And I said, I thought it out. She's the one. And I just, because she's the first person that I went through all the auditions. She's the first person that did the audition, and she delivered those moments exactly how I wrote them. So visually, I saw, listening to her, closing my eyes, visually, I saw Vivian Ashwood, and Paige was the only one that came close to that. And if you're a name or not, I don't think we would have had the same movie. And I have zero regrets. She was just, she's brilliant, and I expect a lot from you too, because shit, man, you killed it, and you deserve it, and you were amazing. And I, you know, don't ever say that, you know, I owe Chris, I owe you, we owe each other nothing. You brought it, you earned it, and that's you. And that's it, man. You are Vivian Ashwood, you are this movie, and it was a beautiful thing to watch it unfold, and I loved every minute of it. So
okay, now that we're done blowing smoke up each other's ass,
I'm not just telling
no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
But you're brilliant.
You are.
That's so kind, guys. I mean,
I want your autograph. I don't have it.
Shut up.
Hey, no, but I think, listen, I've come across it, you know what I mean? Like, you go for stuff and you miss out because they say, oh, but this person has got proven experience, and this person, or you know that they know someone in the company, they're friends with, you know, and you miss out, right? And I always believe, it doesn't always work out, but I believe, make yourself undeniable.
That's
right. And this role, you made yourself undeniable, right? You both made yourself undeniable. And I don't, listen, if I don't like a film, I'm, you know, I have a polite conversation with you, but I'm not going to be telling you you're great, because that's some bullshit. So I honestly mean that you both destroyed this, right? You really elevated things so much, and it's such a joy to watch stuff like this. I recently watched there's a new Hulu original called Jagged Mind. I think the direct, I believe it's Kelly or Kelly Callie. I think Ashley Morgan wrote it. And it's another psychological kind of thriller drama. And I thought it was done really well. It's like this time loop thing. So and then watching this, and it really fills you with so much confidence, because people tell you, oh, cinema's dead. Oh, you know, AI will take over. I'm just like, yo, no, right? Because it's easy to put some mundane bullshit out that we've seen before, and it just goes through the same notes. But things like this, I don't think AI is telling this story. You know what I mean? Like it's a certain person that's able to do this,
Yeah.
and yeah, you destroyed it. It's just like combining the music, you know, the coloring, right? There's certain scenes and the brightness and the different tones kind of give you an indication of what you're seeing, like the reality and the dreams and the flashback. There's all of this kind of thing, right? And being able to blend that all together so well, that it's not an easy thing.
I think that's one of Chris. I think that's one of the things that you're best at is like bringing all of these people together and it melding so well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the music was a big factor in this. I thought the composer just killed it. But there's so many things that have to go right, you know. And I just felt after day one we had something really special. We had a really good, small, tight crew that knew what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
And we had amazing actors. And I thought a compelling story. And when you have those, which aren't easy to come by, I think we made magic. And, you know, I was in the editing room for well over a year and a half, just redoing and tweaking and changing. And, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I think a film takes 3 years to make. And that's, you know, that's where we're coming up on that next year. So, you know, I think we're ahead of schedule, and I'm just glad that you loved it, because, you know, that's the goal. That's the goal, is for people to watch this and say, wow. And if I can do that, then, hey, we did it. So, you know, that's it.
And yeah, and I say this, right? You're watching a film or a TV show, whatever it is, you know, if someone gives a great performance, you don't like, it doesn't matter what they've done before this, right? And like, you can't know everyone, right? So when you're watching these performances, in your mind, you're just like, oh yeah, they must have done so many big things. This is incredible. Obviously, they've done so much, right? So to then find out, oh, that was their big break, right? That was the first opportunity someone's given them. That, you know what I mean? That's not the thing. It's like the fact that they killed it with the performance. It's the story. I know a big name, right, can help you get funding, right? Can help a project get green lighted. But there's a lot of times you watch these big names in things and it feels like they're just being themselves, right? It doesn't feel like they're throwing themselves into, they're no longer, you know, Vivian Ashwood. They're just blah blah in this film, right? And I think that can be the issue sometimes, but people are so scared that they just give big names projects, right? So people like Elizabeth don't get the opportunities, and it's just like, you have to understand that the thing, like, a big name isn't necessarily drawing people to the cinema. It's a story.
100%.
Right? If you know a story is great, you will go and watch it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's so hard for actors, you know, because there are other Elizabeth Pages out there that aren't getting their breaks, and
so many,
because it's such a cutthroat business, and it's really, really difficult. I'm just, you know, thank God she did this, and thank God she was around, and thank God, you know, the stars aligned, and we made movie magic with her, because we have a much different film without her. And that's a fact, because holding an audience for 95 minutes is not an easy task, and she did it. Judith did it, and again, that's, you know, let's go. Let's do the next one now.
Man, I cannot wait to see it. I'm definitely bummed because I've seen the time and I know I've got to let you go. I could continue this conversation, man. You've both been a pleasure to talk with.
You have too.
Thank you.
Thank you. But before you go, let everyone know how they can follow you and where they can watch this film.
Chris?
Paige, go.
I only have Instagram. It's __ePaige, Paige. We have our world premiere at Dances with Films on June 29th at 7:15 p.m. We would love you to be there. Anyone.
And will you both be in attendance?
Yes.
Yeah. Most of the cast will be there for the screening.
And there's a Q&A afterwards as well.
Well, I mean, if that's not like, the film is reason enough, but knowing that you'll all be there as well, people, what are you doing? Go get your tickets, right? All the links will be on the website. So go there, buy your tickets, and then follow them on Instagram, social media, so you know what's happening next, right? Be on the ground floor, because you know big things ahead for these two. So when you are superstars, right, please come back for more conversations, because this has been great.
Kevin, you are so lovely. Truly. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And I will be there.
Yeah, me too.
Outstanding. Well, I hope Bibi is the success that it should be. I look forward to seeing all of the great press that you're going to get, and just all the reactions. So, hey, just enjoy the moments, right? Remember that. Enjoy it.
Completely.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Tremendous.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.